Hey everybody, Ruben Camp, CEO of Darkhorse Tech here. Want to record a little PSA on ransomware. Uh, our background, currently we work with 730 dental offices all across the country to make sure their practices are safe, secure, HIPAA compliant, get liability off of them, and of course support their staff. So I want to record a quick video here, both letting our existing clients know again like what we do for them on a daily, weekly, monthly basis, and for anyone who's interested in getting our services, what all that entails as well and how that can protect you. So first, what is ransomware? Well, ransomware is a awesome ballistic missile that the hackers have at their disposal to lob at businesses. And it's not just healthcare. Now, healthcare gets the spotlight shown on them just because the data is really valuable, right? So, if you get a coffee shop's data, what is that worth? Almost nothing, right? But if you get patient health information, right, the office has to follow the guidelines of HIPAA to protect that information. And if that client, if that dentist doesn't have a backup, that's a big problem. So ransomware, in essence, think of it's a program that runs on a Windows, a Mac, a Linux system, and it fundamentally changes and locks the files on the system. Now that unlocking process involves a key, and that key it could be a 64-digit number, like good luck guessing it. That key is held by the people holding your data ransom. Now, to get that back, you would either have to pay for it or restore from a backup. Hopefully the second one, right? You have a backup that's not just plugged into your server and running and you hope that it works. So essentially, it is locking files and the key you do not have access to, all right? And so how does it get into your office, right? The number one vector, like 91% of the times here, are email, right? So this is something, your email address is out there. If you've been in business a long time, your domain is out there. That's why we see our larger clients deal with this being spammed at them a lot more. So, their domain name is a lot of users out there. But, if you have a website, someone could definitely guess smiles@darkhorsedental.com or info@ or like these are all very easily guessed names. So email is the most common vector. It's usually spoofed inside of something that is believable, reasonable. FedEx, UPS. I mean, I've even seen you've got an upcoming court date. It's really intended to make you click on it. When you click on it and you have permissions to run programs on your computer, which you have to do because in dental, they make these programs so that you have to have access to it. And let's say you're a Dentrix, you're an Eaglesoft, you're an Open Dental user, your workstation has access to the server, right? It has to be able to do its thing. So when you run that program, it infects the whole network. And the issue we saw with the anonymous poster here was that there was a local backup, but that was directly connected to the server. So when the server got hit, that got hit as well, and there was no offsite copy. So there's a couple ways you can get around even ever having to do that. But our intention in our mission to our clients is that they don't even have to deal with it, let alone figure out which backup we're going to recover from. Backups are great, but usually when you're talking backup, the office is down. So it's great to have, but let's avoid the downtime if we can. So number 3, this will be, what does Darkhorse do right now for its existing clients to protect them from ever having to deal with this? Well, we're going to follow what we need to do to make you HIPAA compliant, right? You got to do that anyway. So you talk about the top layer, which is just making sure Windows or Mac, it's patched. The patch means, well, these hackers are trying to find a way in, and Microsoft and Apple are releasing updates. I'm sure you've noticed those updates sometimes have feature enhancements, but mostly they're targeted towards, QuickTime or Windows Media Player, catching bugs, how people can get into the system. So those are released every couple of weeks. And, that's the first thing we do. We make sure all of those are deployed, tested, and secure. Second thing, firewall. Now, a firewall, think of it as, and I have an example here, as a missile defense system, right? So the hackers, they're lobbing over ballistic missiles. This firewall is the bubble around your practice that is going to shoot those things down. Again, before they become issues, we want to be preventative as much as possible. So That is the firewall. That's the top layer. And this is something that's plugged directly into your modem. So everything in and out of the office from your Spectrum or Comcast using and being sent to you is being filtered through this device and knocked down if it's harmful. Now, internally, now we're talking about antivirus and anti-ransomware. So, we use a hybrid product that allows us to hit virus, malware, anti-ransomware, spoofing, fish, all of this stuff, because these are all attack vectors. So if you're talking internal, this means, let's say an email has made it past the firewall, it's gotten through your email server and arrives, and you double click and you run that when's my court appointment email. This is a cat and mouse game at this point, right? So there are higher end products that we offer as well. They can provide another layer which will actually stop it at the pre-execution program phase. So double click, it gets immediately sent to the antivirus system, clears it, and then it runs. But most systems that are affordable and common, it runs and then you catch it. So without that layer, it's just going to run havoc on your network. You're not going to know until it's too late. We obviously talked about encryption in a bad way, right? Locking files, but we use encrypted email to securely send social security numbers, patient health information, x-rays to other offices. So just making sure you're protected there when you're sending that information out. And finally, we talk about backup and disaster recovery. I leave that for last because that should be the last line of defense, right? We really pride ourselves in having we have a local backup, but it's not directly connected to the server, right? So if our clients ever had to deal with ransomware, which, knock on wood, we have a 5-year no ransomware track record right now. If you get the backup away from the server and the server gets hit, we can still clean up the system and then get the backup system up and ready. Even though if the server is not ready to go, this backup system can get you back up in 5 minutes. And then, of course, you have to have an offsite. Now, that offsite backup was recommended right before ransomware was a thing. Think fire, flood, theft, something that's all your eggs are not in one basket in the office. So that's the last layer of defense. But if you don't use us, right, this is all we care about is dental. You might be asking yourselves, I either don't have an IT guy or I have one I trust, but can I double check what he's doing or she is doing is up to snuff? Well, if you want to go ahead and PM me or email me at admin@darkhorsetech.com, obviously you can see the name right there. I will send you the risk assessment that is completed and should be completed by any IT provider in the healthcare industry on your office. So you can hand this to them, or if you do your own IT or try to do that, you can run through it and see what you need to do to be both secure from this ever happening to you, but also HIPAA compliant, right? If you ever have an auditor come in the office, then you can rest assured. And the government this year just added an incentive called the Safe Harbor Act. And what that means is if you are HIPAA compliant and you do fall under an audit and they see you have done these things, they're gonna close that audit up pretty quickly. So tons of reasons to do this, including just being able to see patients and produce revenue and not have to worry about this. And how about stress? let's have less of that. We've had enough of that over the last year and a half now. That was kind of what I wanted to go over here. So hopefully that addresses, if you're using us right now, what we're doing every single day to protect you. And if you're not using us, obviously wanted to provide some information on what you could do to tighten up your security practices. So anyway, take care, everybody.